That comment, the ending, that update by Spamandla Koke. Now let's go back to our top story this hour. Unions have inked a deal agreeing to Eskom's 7% wage increase offer. This took place a short while ago this afternoon, and we saw the press conference after that with the trade unions taking some questions from the media. Let's take you to the venue now where Heidi Giokos is joining me. Heidi, good afternoon. The deal is done. Lots of commentary happening a short while ago in that media briefing by the trade unions like NUMSA, NUM and Solidarity, and also from Eskom. What's the latest you can tell us?
Yes, I think a significant move made here, unions signing that deal. But I think to get more perspective and understanding as to what this entirely means, because we did hear Eskom indicating that this is going to add a significant impact and dent in terms of that wage bill. We are joined by Elsie Pule, who is the Group Executive for Human Resources at Eskom. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you're very exhausted. It's been a rough couple of days. But let's just start off with the fact that this deal has been signed, 7% has been accepted. That was the offer that was revised and offered by Eskom. You made a very alarming remark about the fact that this is something that Eskom cannot afford. Just speak to us about this wage bill and how this is going to stretch Eskom's finances in terms of having to offer the 7% to workers.
This is definitely going to create a huge dent in terms of our employee benefits. We needed to create a balance in terms of circling our business and harmonizing the business, and also looking at the impact of the offer that we have on the table. So the current offer that we have put on the table is in excess of R1 billion, which is based on your base pay. So that will definitely impact our finances. We need to sort of juggle and find ways of funding this offer.
I want us to speak about whether or not operations are going to stabilize at all. We do know that South Africans were subjected to stage 6 load shedding. Is this going to help in any way to try and not have such severe blackouts?
I do hope it's going to help to some extent to stabilize the situation. What you might also not be aware of is that some of the maintenance could not be done due to the unlawful action. So we believe with our employees going back, if we have 100% of them going back to work, that will to some extent stabilize our operation.
I want to ask you about the intimidation that many workers were subjected to, and many of them wanting to go to work, but they couldn't because they were being intimidated by those that embarked on this unprotected strike. Firstly, what was done to protect those workers, and secondly, what action is going to, if at all, is going to be taken against workers who did decide to continue embarking on the unprotected strike despite the fact that there was an interdict?
So as an organization, we do not condone ill discipline. We do not condone criminality. We have had records of intimidation. We have had incidents which have been reported. But what we will then do will make sure that whatever had come across, we will follow the internal processes we have in the organization to manage that.
Are you able to tell us how many workers embarked on this unprotected strike? Are we looking at thousands, or are you unable to ascertain that at this stage?
We're definitely looking at thousands, but it differed in terms of the stages of the protest. So we are currently consolidating the numbers. So at this point, I don't have the exact number.
Okay, and just lastly, I'm sure you might be relieved somewhat. There were also other demands that were put on the table. Is Eskom going to be in a position to be able to afford this? It's not just the 7% that was demanded from unions.
So the other demand that was put on the table is the housing one, that I believe we will be able to incorporate in the existing demand. The rest of the demands, as my colleagues from Labour indicated, we have walked away from them. But if you look at the issue around the conditions of service as well, a lot of it has to do with how we manage time and attendance from our employees, and I believe we will be able to find a way to deal with those. It's not going to be easy, but we'll be able to find a way.
Sorry, you used the figure R1 billion. Is that just an additional R1 billion for the 7% increase, or does it include the other benefits and demands that were met?
So that includes only the 7% and the housing.
Okay, great. And the housing is 400 Rand?
400 Rands per month.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
We do appreciate it. That is Elsie Pule, who's the Group Executive for Human Resources at Eskom. And I think it's important, Radan, just to highlight the fact that we do know Sikonati Manchancha, who's the spokesperson for Eskom, is currently trying to deal with the influx of requests about what happens with load shedding at this stage and whether or not South Africans can feel some kind of relief, especially when, if there's going to no longer be stage 6 or what's the plan going forward. But as you heard Elsie Pule also indicating that there's a huge backlog of, if I can call it backlog, of maintenance that could not be done because of this unprotected strike.
There was also some damage we understood earlier from Eskom a few days ago. So that damage as well has to be fixed in some of those power stations. So correctly there, Heidi, we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen next. But for now, we are still under those high levels or stages of blackouts. Thank you very much.